Namaste, welcome back to You, We, and Filmmaker. And the best filmmaker is Shalima and Mr. Himanshu are with us. We reviewed a few movies before. She is, what do you say? As far as I saw, on all the aspects, she is an actor, she is a writer, she is a director. Himanshu here is a director, camera person, a lot of, versatile genre working people. Uh, I would really give you some time to tell about yourself. Shalima, you can start.
So I'm the founder and CEO of Dreamcatchers. It's a company in Singapore. We started out as online talent showcase company, soon became an events company, into theater as well. And because of COVID, moved into short filmmaking. And that's how we are sitting here with you today, because we're reviewing the short films we've made.
Himanshu, about yourself.
To you and to your audience and all the great work that you're doing. Thank you for all that. I am actually from the corporate world. I am the husband of the CEO of Dreamcatchers, and so I'm a supportive husband. But I've had a desire to be an actor as well as a musician a few decades before 1998, I think.
Yeah.
I'd acted in I'd done a few cameo roles in Doordarshan serial called School Days. So there I played as a math teacher. And so that, my interest had been there from that time. And I think more recently, we've been acting in the Singapore theater. And as Shalima pointed out, during COVID, we started getting into short filmmaking, mostly from home or around nearabouts home. So that gave us some avenues to expand our creativity and skills.
Great. So the very first question to both of you, how did all this started?
So we've been in Singapore almost 19 years now. And after a couple of years of being here, I realized there is no platform in Singapore for people working in the corporate field or, adults to be able to perform, say, actors or singers or dancers, because as college students or school students, you still get that opportunity. But as working adults, there wasn't any such platform. And that's how Dreamcatchers was launched. So we started off with a, talent showcase of dance for women across nationalities. And that was a big hit. And then we thought, oh, why not take it online? And when you take online, then the world becomes a smaller place. So we had entries from all over the world. Thanks to social media, it helped us a lot to get artists from Russia, America, Canada, Southeast Asia. And that's how we started off. Eventually, then we moved on to events. So we did niche kind of events in Singapore. It's been 10 years now with Dreamcatchers. And because I'm an actor myself, so 4 years back, I started my own acting journey, not just as a theater actor, but then, short films here and there. And then we thought that why not launch production from Dreamcatchers banner itself. And that kind of pushed me into the writing foray as well, which I'd never tried my hand at. And considering, there was domestic violence happening, which was on the rise during COVID times, and there was mental health that people were struggling with. So I came up with stories around that.
Right.
The Dreamcatchers journey has been a long one, an interesting one with various niche events, but it started off as providing a platform to musicians, singers, artists, anyone with performing arts background.
Idea tha, I mean, the name Dreamcatcher, it sounds really great. That vibe is great. Who came up with this plan?
I am actually a very spiritual person. I was struggling with the name. I wanted something that represented what I wanted to do. And, a lot of friends gave a lot of suggestions. Nothing was clicking. So I actually sat and prayed and pop, this idea came in my head. So it was God sent, actually. I wouldn't take the credit for it.
So, Yudi, actually this April, the company does 10 years.
Wow.
And I remember I was traveling and somewhere in the middle of the night, Shalima called me with a lot of excitement and said, hey, I wanted to start this company and this is what it'll do. It'll promote artists. I said, oh, that's a great idea. And the next morning, again, she called a lot of excitement. I got a beautiful name. It's called Dreamcatchers. And, I thought, wow, what a beautiful name. It immediately struck a bell. It really represented what Shalima was trying to do and has been doing now for the last 10 years.
Great. So moving on to your short film Caged. It's 11 minutes, 46 seconds short film. Basically, it is about depression, a lot of mixed feeling, right? But in the movie, when I see this character, the lady's character is on top of her career. She's having everything. And suddenly we take a U-turn where she gets depressed, listening to her father's friend's story and stuff. Where did you get this idea? Did you see anyone, or is it completely imagination, or did you create a character which does this? How did you get with the idea?
The inspiration from for this came from generally hearing about stories around of women who are at the top of their game, still feel very lonely and still feel that lacking somewhere, but they have to portray an image to society that, oh, I'm the best mom, I'm the best entrepreneur, I'm the best daughter. And in there, somewhere, they lose themselves. But because they're at the top of their game, they feel that coming out with something like this is a big taboo. So I wanted to address that because it's, usually what happens is there's a norm. People say, oh, everything's going right for her. What does she have to feel depressed about? But that is not the thing, right? Depression is a mental health issue. So it doesn't come with, oh, if you have everything, then you shouldn't be or can't be depressed. So I wanted to bring awareness to that like if you have a cold cough, you do go to a doctor. Similarly, if you have depression, you should go see a counselor and not treat it like, oh, why is she having depression? She has everything going right for her.
Yeah. So did you do any homework? I mean, did you meet any psychologist, or did you get any data on this before you write the story? How did the creative process went on?
Oh, so it was a long process. There's this friend of mine who's a counselor, Kimi Shavi. She has a company called Tree of Life. And so we did exchange a lot of notes back and forth because she has expertise in that field, right? For me, I was creating a story, but I also wanted it to be based on facts. So she gave me a lot of articles to read. And then I understood about it in depth. And that's when the story came.
So, and Yudi, if you look at the movie again, you'll see in the first 30 seconds, there's a lot of, partying and, like she's giving a narrative saying, I love life is beautiful, and I'm a wedding planner. So the first 30 seconds, you get a feeling like, wow, this person has a wonderful life. And then, there's a intentional drop in energy when she's actually lying on the bed, listless, gets up and opens the curtains very listlessly, right? So suddenly like purpose has gone out, energy has gone out. So we wanted to show that contrast. And because that's also what the counselor guided us, that, a lot of people in real life who are actually, dealing with mental health or not aware, but suffering from mental health, actually exhibit those kind of behavioral patterns.
That was my next question, actually. I see this jolly good, energetic businesswoman running around, and she's giving a lot of interviews to the FM stations and stuff. And suddenly I see a complete U-turn. She's all depressed. I mean, that particular character, I saw her very powerful. And immediately I see a very weak or a very meek woman who wants to, achieve something. This transformation while acting, I understand while writing, it was very easy, like tak, you would have written. But while acting, there needs to be a very good understanding of this character, the way she has to go, the way she has to take a U-turn. How did you manage this? I mean, is that Shalima, or is that the character itself that you mended into something and you wanted to do homework to get that particular line? How did you do that?
Thank you. That's a beautiful question because I'm a very happy-go-lucky, very positive, grateful kind of a person in real life. By God's grace, I'm not depressed at all. And I got a call from a well-wisher saying, is everything okay in your life? And I was like, yes, why would you ask? And so he said, no, I saw the film. So, it felt like you're probably trying to say something, you're narrating your story. And I was like, thank you. I take it as a compliment, that my acting was good and you're saying this. But the fact of the matter is that it wasn't that sudden. even as the director, he would agree that it suddenly wasn't like, oh, 1 minute she's very happy. It was kind of building up. Even if you see the interview, she gets irritated with the RJ. That why are you asking me this question? Do you ask your, men interviewers this as well? And so there is that irritation, that, thing building up in her, even when she's talking to her father, and he doesn't understand depression. So that again, that anxiety of how can you, talk like this? I've stopped calling him and this, that, and the other. So it's building up gradually. And then when she's by herself, no responsibilities, kids have gone to sleep, and she's then writing her diary, that's when she's coming out with her true feelings. So it wasn't that sudden, I feel. And it was a lot of inner work to be able to showcase all those different aspects of being a daughter, being a mother, being an entrepreneur who's being interviewed, and then being my real self as the character who's, pouring out her heart on the diary.
How close is she to this character in real life? Is she very, energetic businesswoman who commands everything and, ask RJ that, do you ask the same questions to men and all? Is she so feminine?
So I would say some aspects. The high points of the character are certainly what Shalimar is in real life. She's actually the dynamo in the house who kind of energizes us. And, she comes up with all these ideas. Let's go do it. And, in this case also, like, she came up with the idea. Then while I was thinking about that, it's a very nice idea. She'd already written the script. And then she started researching with Timmy and our friend, and then came up with modifying the script to actually really make it aligned with how people with mental health go. So to back to your question, that I think is really a big strength, that she's also able to portray, a lot of the deep, the pain from, and it's quite amazing. I always compliment her where she gets this ability to tap in as an artist, to be able to come into a space, to begin to bring that out, because in real life, actually, she's not that. So I think that's really testimony to her acting, that, as an actor, you're able to be different from what you are in real life.
Right. How was it? I mean, जब आप set में होते हो, I think there would be creative clashes. Maybe you guys, you wanted to do something and she really wants to project something. Is there any clash that went on and then you guys spoke to each other and settled it? Any such stories?
I think there are two things here. There are two dynamics. One is that we had an actor, director, and she was the writer also. And then the second is husband-wife. So there are those clashes also. No, I would say very little. I think first of all, I would say that Shalimar had a very good vision. As I talked to her, she had a very good vision of how she wanted to portray the character. So she really owned the character very well. And I had to just give a little help, very little help in actually getting her in the zone, etc. So I was able to think a lot more about screenplay. For example, 30 seconds, let's show a high point to start with, life is beautiful, etc. And then let's contrast that. Then leave the audience wondering what happened, and then start, building up this character and so on and so forth. So I was able to think through how should the screenplay happen, or we'll be driving like this, we can show her talking and driving versus, and then especially the ending scene I thought was very important because she lies down on the desk, on the study, she puts her head on the table, etc. So all that visualization, I got a chance to think through all of that. But the way, most of the character itself, Shalimar had a very clear vision, and I was instantly in agreement. So I would say very little disagreement on this one. And I think we ended up, I would say even it helps us become better as husband and wife, because we know which part you own, which part I own. Right?
And also, in alignment with the creative side of us, which normally on a day-to-day basis, husband wives don't relate on the creative side, So this was a new aspect that we kind of discovered together.
And last, I would say, I would recommend to all husbands and wives who are getting a chance to act together that husband should become a director, because that's the only time the husband can become a director. So.
Yeah. Shalimar, I've seen this movie, and somewhere I felt you were acting very naturally. I could not see any, preparation going on in your mind, or something you felt very difficult on screen. Of course, on screen you would have edited it. But you tell me, which was the most toughest scene or that particular expression that you were struggling a lot to come up with as an actor?
So, when you do theater, whatever you're feeling that time and, whatever internal work you do comes out immediately and it's received by the audience. So, in that sense, it's easier. When you're doing a film, you get into the zone, you're feeling raw, you're feeling certain things, and you're getting into the depth of character. And then there is retake and retake and retake. So, that becomes a bit difficult. So getting into the character part takes a while, but staying in that character when the lighting is being adjusted, when there's a retake happening, when there are different angles being shot, that I find a bit challenging to then remain in the zone and be true to the character.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. I think it's the technicalities, those kind of things that sort of kill you from the zone. But I can tell you the one she did most effortlessly was the one I thought would be the most challenging, which was the last scene. And somehow by the time we set the night, it was a night shot. And the whole movie was shot at home, except because of, it was lockdown. So we were all meant to get home. We were allowed to only drive out. That's why we could do one drive out shot. Otherwise, everything was shot at home. But to me, I was very amazed that she really came in the zone. She tried to empathize with the character. How would such a person feel? And she really felt it. So our job was really to keep quiet, make sure we're not making any sounds to distract her. And as we did the.
And I didn't use glycerine. Those tears were real.
Yeah.
No, that's an important point, actually. Yeah, actually, that's what I meant by. I was surprised that she actually was able to, feel for a person like that, a high level of empathy.
Yeah, and that also shows the dedication of the character, actually. I mean, of the cast. I mean, Shalima. That shows the dedication to that particular character, because it's really hard. It's really hard to get those emotions. Like when you, as a director, you'll ask the cast to cry, but 9 out of 10, you will get frustrated that the cast won't do it without glycerin. So it was really great that it came natural. So,
very good point. Thank you for your experience is showing clearly. So thanks.
You literally left an open climax. Were you not scared that it may misfire or backfire? Sometimes people don't understand open endings given to this particular movies. They want a proper ending for the movie. Do you ever felt that, okay, we could have given a proper end for this movie, or were you very happy with the open ending that you are given?
Yeah, so actually I was quite happy with that. I'll tell you why. First of all, we didn't leave it so open. So we did not leave the audience to, I hope, I would like your confirmation back, but yes. we did leave it with the person calling a counselor for help. So she looks up a counselor, calls a person, says, I would like to meet you.
Right.
And then instead of showing what happens after that, person becomes happy. That we thought would be too obvious. So we just left it with narrative, with the sun rising, suddenly from going from dark to sunrise, saying life is beautiful. There will be ups and downs, but how you deal with it, and asking for help is an important part. That is the key message, right? So that was covered in the narrative. That it was a message to a lot of people, because suddenly during the lockdown, we were also hearing left, right, center, a lot of messages, about mental health illness. So we thought this was a good way to contribute some solution about, hey, reach out for help. That's very important. So in my view, in the treatment, we thought we did not leave it so open-ended. We were saying she reached out for help. Things became better afterwards.
Considering it was a lockdown, so what was the most challenging point while shooting those car scenes, and how you were able to shoot the entire movie? Like, since it was very restricted access and you have to have limited people who have to come in and do those things. So what were the challenges in those situations?
Well, I think first of all, we couldn't get any other help other than the two of us, and my daughter was also involved in, one or a couple of shots. So it was really a home production in that sense, right? Okay. Although there are some very skilled people in the field here who are in our network, would have been very willing to come and participate in this movie. We could have added characters, but we intentionally decided to make it about one character. And then we were having to give the appearance, like, using one room in our house to give the appearance that she's in office, etc. When actually we were shooting pretty much in the same few square feet around us, right? So I think that was one, but we were lucky that we could drive out, and so that allowed us to give, and the audience to get some reprieve, so a feeling that, oh, look, they've gone out, there is some movement, some nice shots of Singapore came.
Yeah.
Especially that, the flyer, if you go back and see there's a big, like the London Eye, we have the Singapore flyer. So we were able to catch that.
So actually for that movie, we won the Best Cinematography Award also from one of the film festivals.
So let's move on to the next movie, and my favorite movie, Soulmate. Soulmate is 7 minutes, 22 seconds.
Mine too.
One of the best short films that we have reviewed till now.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you so much.
There's this small story I wanted to share. We had about 15 movies. We were watching them repeatedly because almost 50 movies had the same story and content. And then we came across this movie called Soulmate. I think 1 or 2 days before, I spoke to Shalimar saying that, Shalimar, I still have to review your movie. Give me some time and stuff. And I forgot about that particular point that Soulmate is her movie, and we started watching it. And I told the movie was, in the beginning, I was like, oh God, again, I'm seeing a husband-wife movie. What is this? And believe me, as soon as I saw the ending, I immediately called Mr. Venki and told, did you see Soulmate? And he said, no. I told, you see it first. We are not going to review any other movie. We are going to review that movie. And he's like, okay, that is Shalimar's movie. You are going to review that. Then I told, you watch the movie, then call me. I'll tell you why. And again, after 15 to 20 minutes, I get a call from Venki saying that, did you see that movie? Did you see the ending? I mean, he was so eager to tell me that the ending was mind-blasting. We were like, oh my God, how are we going to tell the plot of the movie? I cannot disclose that. And it took us at least 1.5 days to understand how to put this movie's plot into our script. And that is how great the movie was. Now,
thank you. And you did a beautiful synopsis in the beginning, because when I was hearing it, I was like, oh, will they give the plot away? And you did not. And yet, you said so much to hook the audience. So thank you very much.
Thank you
for your reviews.
So coming to my first question, how was it to act with your wife on screen?